I haven't done a video blog in a while, and I was feeling really lazy and didn't feel like typing up an entry onto the blog page, so I figured I'd just record. I decided today that I was going to talk about the different components of how I'm learning Japanese while I'm here in Japan. So it's a three-part thing. The first one is I go to the Takarazuka International Friendship Society, which is a building near here in Takarazuka, where they offer language courses for 500 yen a month, which just goes to pay for textbooks and things like that. I work one-on-one with a very kind Japanese lady, and I do a series of readings every week. And so I read out loud to her, and she corrects my pace and my flow and things like that. I work on rhythm, and then immediately after reading, say, a paragraph or so, we then have a short little conversation about it. We talk about it, what we think about it, sort of relate culturally to it, basically have conversational practice. And so this is really good for me because it helps me with word recognition and reading skills. It helps me with developing rhythm and flow so that I can speak at a natural pace, as well as it forces me to comprehend what I'm reading very quickly so that I can then process it and have an active dialogue about what I've just read. And so I don't have enough time to, use a dictionary or anything like that. I have to process what I've read or ask questions about what I read if I didn't understand something, so that in a minimal amount of time, I'm able to process all this information and then move on with it. So that's part one. Part two is I have recently received my textbook from the JET program for Japanese language learning. I chose the advanced level. I had the option of beginner, intermediate, or advanced, and so I chose advanced, and it turns out it's the perfect level for me. It is not very far ahead of me. I had a little bit of a run-up at the very beginning to do review to catch up to the level it expected me to be at, but that was really easy, and now it's pretty much picking up right at the level I'm at, so that I read the dialogues and I understand most everything. The new vocab that they give me are pretty much the only words that I didn't know prior to reading the article, so it's not like they expect me to know words that I don't already know. And the content is absolutely wonderful. The program is designed basically to teach you Japanese that is useful for the job you're doing here in Japan as a JET, so as an English teacher in Japan. So a lot of the dialogues are really geared toward how you deal with teachers in a working environment, how you deal with other international teachers or other international people who you probably have become friends with if you're in this program, and how you'd communicate with Japanese students or Japanese local people, how you'd become involved with the community, which is something important to me and a lot of other people in my position. And so a lot of the vocab immediately after learning can directly be used. So I can turn and have a conversation with the teacher sitting right next to me about something pertinent and relevant using the grammar or the vocab that I've just learned. So that's an excellent opportunity for me to be formally learning Japanese. The only problem with that program is it moves extremely fast. So I have to do 4 pages a day, 5 days a week, for 4 weeks for every book. It's a 6-book series, so they'll mail me a new book every month, and I have to get through the 4 weeks of new grammar and vocab and things like that, do sort of like self-regulated homeworks with an answer sheet in the back, and then at the end of the month, I have to complete a 40-question test, complete all the answers, mail it in, and that's how they assess my completion of the course. The third component of my Japanese language learning is going out there and using it. And so one of the things that I've really been trying to do is make Japanese friends, to become involved with local Japanese people. And so what I've been doing is I actually became friends with a couple members of a local band. They do sort of a fusion of a hip-hop. They've got one member who sings sort of like a hip-hop line, and then they've got another member who sort of sings more of a pop line. And so they're sort of blending that pop and hip-hop together, and it's a really great sound. They're really great music, and they're really great people, and it's really cool to know them. They're actually starting to get pretty well known in the area, so that's really great. And because I've been going to a number of their concerts and that sort of thing, I've started to get to know the fans, the followers of this band. It's a pretty tight-knit group of friends. And whereas in the beginning I was sort of like that awkward foreigner who was just sort of showing up and no one really knows why he's there and stuff like that, they've gotten to know me. They've gotten to know what my Japanese language abilities are, and so they now all know my name. They know that I'm a local here, that I'm not just a tourist. They know that I want to get to know them and that I want to continue working on my abilities, and they know that I can understand a lot of what they're saying and I can communicate with them. And so they've been inviting me to come to different events. They've been getting to know me. They've been becoming friends, and I'm actually starting to really like fit in, and so I'm one of the group now, and more than just that token foreigner who's just shown up and that sort of thing. So I've been seeing a lot of really great things through that network group of, there's probably 12, 15 people that I've met through that group, some who I know better than others. So in that way, I'm really developing my communication skills, my processing of skills. And in the beginning, you have sort of a cookie-cutter conversation with everyone you meet, where they want to know where you're from and what your hobbies are and that sort of thing. But once you really get to know someone well, the conversation takes that next step where you have to start generating new conversations you've never had before. You have to actually process new sentences that you've never practiced before. And so that, I think, is the most important Japanese development that I'm going through. You know, I've got the rigid grammar learning, the rigid vocab learning, the rigid reading learning, but the active sort of generation of new content that's relevant to me, that means something to me, that means something to the person I'm talking to, I think is really, really pushing me to that next level. So I apologize, this video was kind of long, but I wanted to let you know what's been going on in my life with regard to a single topic, and so I chose the topic of Japanese language learning. If you liked this topic and you want to hear more about what I do to learn Japanese or something like that, let me know. If you like this format where I pick a certain topic and sort of rant about it, let me know. If you hate it, let me know. I didn't get a lot of feedback on my last video, which sort of showed an amalgamation of footage that I took. It was mostly just me traveling and arriving here in Japan. And so because it was kind of dull, I put it to some good music. Hopefully you enjoyed that. But if you liked that style, I can do more of that. Also, I want to encourage you to comment in any other way. Let me know that you're just viewing my video. Great job, terrible job. Please comment. The same goes for anything you see on my blog page. So if you're viewing this on my blog, I'll put the links to my blog in the sidebar. Please make comments there. Let me ask questions. Tell me what you want to see more of. Tell me what you want to see less of. Let me know. Let's make this an interactive experience. If you're viewing this on YouTube, which I encourage you to do if you'd like, please subscribe to me, and then you'll get updates every time I make a new video. Also, make comments and ratings on that place. I will respond to those the same way as I will on my blog. As well as it's good to see some stars and see what you guys thought of my video in that way. If you happen to be living in Japan, please feel free to give me any advice you have about living here or about teaching, that sort of thing. I welcome any kind of feedback that I can get, because that's really the fuel that makes me want to continue doing this. So definitely engage in whatever way you feel comfortable. If you're one of those people who's kind of shy, feel free to send a direct message to me. And I will reply that way. That's all I really have to say for today. So I want to thank you again for supporting me in my time here, and I hope to give you some more great content in the time to come. I'm out.